Hi everyone, welcome to this new hair cards tutorial. This is a series of 9 videos and 4 hours of content. A step-by-step tutorial on making hair from scratch in Blender using the new hair system, baking the hair to the scalp, and creating the hair cards using 2 methods, one for free and one using the Hair Tool Addon. Then I will show you how to optimize and export your hair cards, and finally import and use them in Character Creator and Unreal Engine. These tutorials are free, and I will be releasing them one at a time. If you don't want to wait and get access to all the files, including the textures, meshes, the Unreal project, and all the video tutorials, they are for sale now on my Ko-fi page for only $7. I will leave the link in the description if you are interested. My name is Danny Marty, and I'm a 3D artist and a game developer. I have been making characters and games for the last 7 years, and I have been mentored by some of the best artists in the industry. Now it's my turn to share some of my tricks and workflows with you. Please check the description. I will provide links to YouTube videos that help me and can be very useful for you as well. So let's get started. So the first step would be gathering some references of the hairstyle that we want to do. In this case, I'm looking to do something like you can see here. I think this is a good example because we have 2 different kind of hairs or hair lengths. So we have more like, as you can see here, more like a medium length hair and then short hair. So this is going to be a good exercise for us to practice. And then another thing that I want to mention here, it's I found this photo or this sequence of photos, and that's very helpful to have different points of view because that's going to help us just in a little bit to analyze a little bit how the hair works. So once I gather the different references that I want for my hairstyle, what I am going to do is identify the different groups or the different groups that I'm going to try to reproduce in Blender with the new hair system. So let me come here and I'm gonna draw the groups. So draw, let's do blue, and then we can choose this one. So essentially here we are gonna have 3 groups. We have the front, we are gonna have the top part, and then we are gonna have the sides. And here obviously it's the same, front, top. This is a good way to break down our hairstyle. So when we are in Blender, I'm going to create curves for the short hair in the sides, another curve system for the mid-length hair, and another one for the front. I like to separate the front because this usually is the part that it's more visible. So we are going to try to pay more attention to this part, and especially the transition here from the forefront to the hair. So the second thing I like to do is to identify the flow, and for that let me do the arrow. So that's why these 4 photos here are important, because here we can see the different sides, the back, and we can see and understand better how the hair grows in a normal head. So for example, if we start with the back, this area here, it's very important because it's kind of like the source of the hair, and that's gonna help us to kind of like develop the rest of the hair from the back to the front. So as you can see here, the hair, it's a little bit like on a spiral. So this is how the flow of the hair works. Then from the sides, we have the hair is coming like this, and then it's going slightly to the side. On the sides, kind of the same thing. And then, for example, well, here it's very clear, goes like this, from the back to the front, and then slightly to the sides. And here it's kind of the same. Here we have the front hair, and then so now that we have our groups, we have the flow, we can then jump into Blender. So see you there. So now we are here in Blender, and I have this base mesh for the head. By the way, if you're a supporter on my Ko-fi page, you're gonna have access to all of these files. So that's just something that if you want to use it, you're gonna be able to have the base mesh, all the texture, all the hair, everything, okay? So once I'm in Blender, what I like to do is to define the scalp, and the scalp is the source of our hair curves. So if I enable here, this is my scalp, and this scalp is just, I'm going to show you very fast. It's, I came here, let me, so you enter in edit mode, and then you select the faces that you want. Let's say that's our scalp. I do Shift D to duplicate, then P to separate the selection, and then that's how I did my scalp. Okay. One thing that is important, it's the new hair system in Blender requires to have the source of the hair needs to have UVs. So in this case, if I jump into the UV editor and then I select, let me see, I select our base mesh, you can see that we have UV. If you don't have UVs, you're gonna have to unwrap it. And then because my base mesh has already UVs and I extracted the scalp from the same mesh, my scalp has UVs as well. Okay? So as I said in the previous chapter, we are going to try to reproduce now the three groups. So what I like to start, it's usually with the main group, that's going to be the top. So what I'm going to do is select our scalp, then Shift A, and then we are going to do curves, and then we are going to add an empty hair. Now that we have our empty hair here, maybe I'm going to rename it. Let's call it hair top. We'll do hair top, hair front, and hair sides. So with our hair top selected, I'm gonna jump here into the sculpt mode, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be adding hair, but this hair is gonna be we are gonna use it as a guide, not as much as the real hair. And another thing I want to do before going forward, it's here I'm gonna open another window. And here, instead of that, we are going to look for the asset browser, and then we want just to select the hair. So like that, we have access to all the geometry nodes for our hair. We are going to be using that in a moment. Okay, let me just put it like here. Then with our curve selected, I'm gonna go back to sculpt mode, and then I'm gonna add, with the tool of adding hairs, what I want to do is I want to reduce the count to 1 because I want to add hairs one by one. And another thing I want to do, curve shape, here on the points, I feel like, okay, for mid-length hair, 8 it's okay. If we were gonna do like longer hair, maybe we want to do like 16. For shorter hair, maybe we want to do 4. So that depends a little bit. So more points means more resolution. So the hair looks a little bit smoother, not that polygonal. And then the length 0.3, maybe it's too long. Let's see. Let's try with 0.15. And then I'm gonna add a hair. I'm gonna add one hair. Okay, so here we have another issue. Or another thing that we can, our hair is very, very small, and that's usually because the hair is taking into consideration the scale of our scalp. So let me check this. So yeah, the scale is very small. So what we want to do is do Control A and apply the scale. So now it's at 1, and then if we go back to scalp mode, select the hair, very important, then scalp mode, I'm gonna remove this one, and now we can add it again. Okay, so, okay. Second issue that we have, and that's good to see all of these issues, is like, okay, I converted, or I applied the scale for the scalp, but I didn't apply the scale for the hair system, so we are still at 0, 0, 1. So again, Control A, scale. Let's go back to the scalp mode. Let's remove, and let's see. Oh, probably that now it bugged. That works. Okay, now we are in business again. Okay, so this is a bit too long. Let's try here, maybe 0.1. It's still too long. Let's try then, I'm gonna do 0. And then after that we can always try to make it longer or shorter, so we can adjust it. I don't really like to do it with the modifiers, but it's an option. Okay, so okay, this length works much better. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding our hair. And another thing that we can do to work a little faster, it's enable symmetry. So now we have, and as I was saying, this is just for as a guide. This is not meant to be our final hair, but it's gonna help to give direction to all the hair children that we're gonna be adding. Okay. And then finally, I'm gonna add one in the middle so I can remove this one. Sometimes we can have less, or maybe we need more, because what we are going to be using is the interpolation, and the interpolation, what does, it's, for example, takes 2 hairs and adds children hair in between. So sometimes if there is not enough guides, the interpolation doesn't really know how to act. So if your hair is behaving in a weird way, one of the ways to fix it is to adding more hair guides or parents. So now I'm gonna go to comb, and what I want to do, as we were seeing on the references, we want the hair to go like from the back to the front. So let me see, let's do top view first. So it's gonna be something like this. All of that hair goes to the front. And then you have to be playing a little bit with the different points of view. It's not that easy sometimes to do the combing. And another thing I feel like it works better is to use the projected instead of the. See, now our hair is a little more responsive. And these ones go like this. So I go to the front and then to the back. Another thing that you can do, for example, if I push too hard, this hair is gonna get into my scalp and we don't want that. So you can press this option here that it's really hidden, and that is gonna prevent your hair to overlap or intersect your scalp. This one goes like this. F to make the brush bigger. And then let's make that a little bit like that spiral. So helping a little bit. Keep pressing 7 to go to top view. So we want to the front, but then slightly to the side. And then after that, we'll see if we need more help. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It's gonna be looking probably very ugly at the beginning. So don't worry too much. It's part of the process. We always do very ugly things until the thing is done. Just how 3D works a little bit. Okay, so remember, this is just for the top. For the front, I'm gonna have another system and I'm gonna be able to do a little bit more refined work, especially when the cards are there instead of the curves, just because we want the placement. Some of the placement is gonna be almost manual, so we have more control. And sometimes we want just to. Another thing that is very helpful is this tool here, selection, because sometimes we would just want to move one hair instead of all of them. So with this is the selection tool, I can come here, and as you can see, the rest of the hair strands get gray or darker. That means that they are not selectable or they are not editable. And what we want to do is do the selection just to affect not just the vertices, but to affect the whole strand. So you can come here, and then now the whole strand is selected. So I can come back to the comb. And keep combing. I mean, there is not too much secret about that. Combing, it's like sculpting, it's an art by itself, so the more that you do it, the better it's gonna look. And I'm trying to do this tutorial very like step by step, and I'm not trying to edit too much, so maybe sometimes I'm rumbling or the process is a bit slow, but I prefer you to see the whole process step by step, and then if you want to speed it up, you just can, like, you know, run the slider and do it. This one. And then there's another tool. If your hair is starting to get a little bit too like messy or too like like polygonal. I always say polygonal, but like, you know, like these like hard edges, you can always come here. There is an option for to smooth, and that helps to make your hair a little bit more like yeah, less pointy. This one doesn't need to be that, you know. And here probably we are gonna need more. I'm gonna add another one. I feel we are gonna need more hair here. Okay, and let's select F to change the size of the brush. And then here it's almost straight. Same for the neighbor. And then I'm gonna add another one here because I feel it's probably gonna need it. This one, maybe we can make it a little bit like this, and then we can go back. And this is going to be like a non-destructive process, so it's going to be, even if afterwards we feel like, oh, we need to still make some edits, we're going to be able to do that. So I want to fix some hair here. This one, you can see it's like very weird looking, so let's smooth it. And then we can comb it. I want to adjust this one as well, because here the hair should start to go a little bit to the side or to the back. If I press A, I select all of them, so all of them are, I can edit all of them again. Okay, let's see. And now I'm going to start to add a little bit more of density, so we are going to be able to see, okay, is that looking good? Is that, you know, the only thing I want to probably fix a little bit is these ones here. Let me select these ones, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Oh, so I'm pressing Shift to select different hair strands. Now comb, and I want to slightly move them to the side. Here, if we want, probably we are going to need more hair too, I feel like. So I can add one here, and one here. And I'm going to just select those ones. Make this small. Okay, now I can comb this, and that goes to the front. front, but as well starts to go to the side and down. And this hair here, now it looks very long, but that's where we are gonna be working on the transition, because here goes from mid-length to short hair. So that's always a little bit tricky. Okay, so let's start adding a little bit more of density so we have a better idea how our hair looks. So what I'm gonna do, the first thing is come here and we can add, let's add the interpolation. So here I'm gonna just drag it and drop it, and the first thing is gonna happen is gonna disappear our parents. That's totally perfect, totally not perfect but totally fine. We have to pick our scalp, and then here on the density, now it's 10. We are gonna have to play with like big numbers here. It always takes a second to let you edit the number, I don't know why. So 1000, you can see we don't have too much. Let's add another 0. And now we are starting to see stuff. But you can see it's using the whole scalp. It's not just using where we started. And that's due to because we are not masking. I'm going to show you in a second how we can mask. But I want to add even more density. So the first thing we want to address is the way that I want to have some like I want to mask the group. I don't want just the hair to be everywhere. So what I'm gonna do is come here, select the scalp. I'm gonna create a vertex group. Actually, let me remove all of those. And then I'm gonna create a group that's gonna be called hair top, and then we are gonna jump into weight paint, and then I'm gonna just actually what we can do so it's visible meanwhile we do the edit, just come to the system, come to here, and then in density mask you're gonna click on this weird cross. And another thing I forgot, we have to come here and, well, it's called hair top, so we want to, well, I'm gonna copy it, and then here, on density mask, we are gonna write it, or paste it, hair top. And it still doesn't show anything because we didn't add any weight paint yet. So weight paint, and weight it's at 1. So our top area, it's gonna be this one, and actually we are gonna probably need thinking, well, I'm thinking because you can have different masks. For example, you can have one mask for length, you can have one mask for density, and I was thinking maybe we could have 2 masks, one for length and one for density, but I'm gonna try to just use one for both, and then we can just so obviously what we want here on the sides is to have shorter hair, so it starts to transition with our short hair in the sides. So I'm gonna try to do it with one mask, but if I don't succeed, then I'm gonna create another mask. But you'll see. So I think that's good, because then what I'm gonna do, we are gonna blur that. So if we come back to our geometry nodes, there is one node that it's called, let's see, trim. So we can throw this one here, and you can see like makes this mess. So we have to jump to the, let's go to the settings and replace length. No, the only thing that we want is to use our weight painting, and then the mask, it's gonna be the same, hair top. And let's see, scale uniform, length factor. So as you can see, actually, for some reason, it's like doing the opposite. Okay, so can I invert it? Length factor. Let me see. Length factor. Oh, length factor. That should be here. Hair top. Okay. And then mask. We don't need a mask. Okay. So I think that works now. If I go back to weight paint and now I blur this, you can see it's already like shortening the hair in the sides. So that's what we want. The only thing, it's doing two things. It's shortening the hair, but because we have a density, it's kind of making our sides a little bit more like probably bald. So I don't know if we're gonna really have to use two masks. Still not looking amazing, but we are gonna start fixing it very quick, because there are all of those geometry nodes here that are gonna really help us to make our hair to look much more natural. I think the flow it's kind of okay. Let's see, object. I mean, here probably we can still like make it a little bit wet paint. I'm using the blur, but if the blur doesn't work too much for you, you can always come here and on the strength, reduce the strength. So, but usually, I mean, the blur works good because it helps to make, it's like a gradient, the transition, it's smoother. And then I think we can even, like, for example, if we say replace length, and we say, okay, the hair was at 0.75 or 0, was 0.075? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So, for example, we can here, now it's the same length than before, but maybe we want it a bit shorter. So we could come here and say, well, I wanted that 5. So this is a way for you to adjust the length of the hair. I think this length probably works a little bit better. Let me go here, and then that's one of the good things about doing this way. It's like now we can still make changes, and because we are just working with the parents, that's gonna actually affect the children. So what I want to do is to do the hair a little bit more like yeah, like this. So the hair starts to go, it's not just straight, it starts to go back. Here I think we are good, and here I wanted to, another thing, it's that's too much, that's like bothering you because you don't see anything clearly. You can come always here to the modifier, and then not interpolation, but oh, actually, yes, okay, and then we can. And then I'm gonna select, and then comb. I want slightly to go to the side, not go so straight, because I guess the interpolation is gonna do that for me anyway. So now I can enable that, and you can see starting. It looks like a mess, but it's all good. We can. The fact is, the hair, it's always pretty messy. So that's what we have. Okay, so let's see. Here the front, I don't want the front. I like here that the hair is going a little bit like, you know, like shorter, but on the front I want to have more density. So I'm gonna go a little bit like stronger with the. I'm gonna remove kind of like the gradient. So this gradient here, I'm gonna 1 and then draw, and then I'm gonna try to do, you know, like add the. Let me see, draw radius. If I do add, it's like not really peaking, no. Draw. Mix, that's the one I want. I think the mix allows you to add and remove at the same time. So if I do control, yeah, control, it lets me remove. Okay. I mean, here you can spend hours just combing. So little tricks that I like to use to improve the look of the hair. Right now it doesn't look too good. So a couple of things that help to have the hair looking more natural. And then I'm gonna play some geometry nodes here, and let's just play, and then we can see. And it's very important, another thing it's to have in mind, it's like the order, it's very important too. So let's do some clumping, and you can see here the clumps, it's now like crazy. So what I like to do is, first of all, I'm gonna uncheck the existing guide map. And then what we want to do is on the guide distance, I think it's guide distance. We're gonna change that to smaller. So now you can see our hair is clumping much more like in a, like almost like more in a natural way. But maybe that's still too much, so we can go farther and maybe do 0.1. Here it almost disappears, so we need to do something intermediate. Let's do 0.5. Okay, that's better. And then another thing that we can do, it's duplicate this one, duplicate, and we are gonna do a very small one, because that's what that is. it does like a, let's say like a micro, like a clumping on top of the clumps that we already have. And that's already starting to look a little bit more natural. We still have probably some not clumping, but combing to do here, because maybe we want to check the references to see how the hair actually grows. That's why we have our references, isn't it? Another thing I like to do, just to add more randomness, it's to add noise. And where do we have our noise? Freeze is a good one as well. Straight, no, and there is a noise somewhere. Here, hair curve noise. So the same, I'm gonna just like drag it there, and then we are gonna, let's see, here you have always to play with the settings. There are so many things that it's sometimes hard to know what does what. So this is adding a little bit of noise. Maybe we can be a little bit more like stronger. That's starting to look like something. And another thing you can do, for example, it's like, oh, this hair is very thin and it's hard to like picture what's going on. We can come and add our profile to our hair. And the profile, it's another geometry node, and it's it should be, let's see if I find it, because I don't know, I'm having a hard time today to find my nodes. Oh, here, curve profile. So we can throw that here, and it's not doing anything right now, but I like to put it the first. So this is an important setting that I think I forgot. If we go to, it's here, curves. Okay, so we have to change, instead of strand, we have to do strip, and now we can see the profile. Okay. I was like, oh, why is that not working? But that's a good thing. So if that happens to you, you can fix it as well. So let's go, yeah, replace radius. That's gonna be probably really small. Probably we want it a bit smaller. So now you can have like thicker hair. Okay, so we have trim. Now our hair is very short. Let me see if the factor, yeah, the factor was, okay. So the factor actually was giving us some issues. So factor minimum, if we do 1, what happens? Yeah, we have our hair now, it's like, you can see it's thicker, and that can actually even like help us to understand how our hair cards are gonna work, because if we put a thicker, let's say, so you can start to see those can be our cards in the future, like in the next very soon future, that's gonna be our cards. Okay, well, I think let's leave it here, and in the next video I'm gonna work on the sides.